I was a big, I used to be a big fan of Amy Winehouse, but then my parents, they always said that I was like too much into like figures and death, and I think they were worried that I was too much into like depressed people. Because I think I recognized something. So I was always wearing like Amy Winehouse makeup, and my father, he made a big fun of me, like always calling me Amy as well. But then I had a hard time because like two people I was really fond of died in that period, and one was Heath Ledger, and the other one was Amy Winehouse. So I cried for both of them a lot in that period. So yeah.
Was there any presence within the Netherlands, like when she died? Was there like, because in England there were like shrines to her, there were little like fans had made their homemade shrines, like in London. I just wondered whether there was any form of collective grief, like when you went to school, did people get like, did you meet your other school friends who were like...
No, actually I think I was the only one in class that was really a fan of her, because I don't know, I think because I was young as well, I think I was 13, 14, and a lot of my classmates didn't like her sound because it's not really poppy or something. So I didn't talk about that very much. And also, no, I think in both cases, it was on the radio. So I used to listen to the radio in the mornings with my dad, and I heard about it. But it was something that wasn't really out there for me at that time. But I don't know how it was for like people that were older than me, like maybe 20 more or 25, like people in the 20s. So yeah, I was more of a...
It's been 9 years now since Amy Winehouse's death. I just wondered if you reflect on it or like feel something, or with time and age, like have a whole perspective on her that may be different.
It was, and it was more about how we chase people, or we don't listen to people. So I watched her documentary. So I think, what happened to me as well is that I did post about her when a few years ago, and I removed it as well from my Instagram, because after I saw the documentary, I also felt that people didn't really listen to her as much, like she really wanted to be left alone. And that made me also think about, I think I combined that the things that my parents said to me and the things that happened in the documentary, like, oh, maybe I combined it into the same thing, that I have to let it go as well. So but I'm very much interested now in how you can be a good journalist, or how you handle ego documents, or how you handle diaries, how you write autobiographies, and how you can really pay attention to that. So that's really what I spent the last months reading a lot of figures.
There's a lot of like multiple accounts of her life.
Yeah.
So the book, the film, which presents a very unsympathetic portrayal of her father, for example, and also a very unsympathetic portrayal of Blake, her lover. And both her mother has written a memoir called Amy, My Daughter. Her dad has written a book called Amy, My Daughter. There's Blake has, I think, published some sort of photography book, but certainly spoken publicly about it. I just thought, with all these multiple narratives, do you wonder what the true one is, or...
Well, I think the documentary is also like set up not to. I think a lot of people. The documentary is also set up, as you said, like to give some to give the guilt away, like something like that. But it actually made me very sad, instead of that I could it's all her father's fault, or it's all her lover's fault, or it's a whole life that is connected. It's not something that is like, it's not one person's fault, or the guilt is not a one person. So your question was
Her father is actually making a new film that shows a sympathetic side of him. So, and it's also interesting because her dad, I really recommend reading the memoir by her dad, because it provides another angle. Then there's the other book which I recommend called Amy 27, which does even extra research on top of her dad and shows that her dad was quite crooked in some of his business deals and stuff. So there's all this, and I can't wait to read her mum's account too. But so I just wondered, so do you remember being 27?
I do. I
Yeah.
actually still feel I do. I do remember being 27. Now I have to think about the year exactly.
Was it a happy year?
No, actually not. No, it was not a happy year. But it was also, it could have been a happy year. I don't think it was about 27, but it was for me a turning point where I really got to know myself as well. And there's something about me in my life is that I always had the feeling that, well, I get burned out like every year and a half. So
Yeah.
that's a weird thing. So, but it's also because there's always a big happening before that. So in this year, it was especially like a big thing that made me have to isolate myself again. So it was not a very happy year. It was actually, I think, that it was at the same time like the biggest. Well, I could say I also almost lost myself in that year as well, like the 27 year. Yeah. So yeah.
Are there any particular lyrics or songs that really mean a lot to you of her? Or favourite songs?
Yeah, there are. But I have to think about the music that I listened to in that period. I think in that period I listened to Marina and the Diamonds.
Yeah.
And there's this one song. Can I look it up?
Sure.
Because I forgot the title of the song, but I think it's good to.
Did you listen to Lioness, the album, the posthumous album?
No.
There's the album after Back to Black. It's basically published after she died, and it's like her missed, it's like what she could have been, because it's sort of like almost like a leftovers album called Lioness, Hidden Treasure. So, or is it a B-sides album?
I think I've listened to it.
Well, there's only 3 albums anyway. There's Frank, Back to Black, and.
Well, the song is called Savages.
Yeah.
So, and the lyrics are much about. Well, maybe it's not very cynical, but it's a lot about how we. How we hide ourselves, and well, the song is about we're just animals still learning to behave. So I was really angry that year.
Yeah.
So I felt really used by a lot of people. So this was kind of a very, it had a lot of strength in it, but it's also angry and it's also a bit cynical. So that was good for me that year. Yeah, I don't know what it says about me, but yeah. But I haven't listened. Well, let me see. I think.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
I just had